In the shadows of the precinct, the stories unfold of heroes in blue with hearts pure and bold. But behind the badge, there's a fight to be won. When commands down, forget the battles we've done. Nick and Marc voices rise in the night, calling out the wrong, shining justice's light. For every cop left standing out in the cold, the roll call rooms where the truth is told. Raise your hand, shout it loud, don't let it be ignored. The roll call room is here, justice restored. For the officers broken, betrayed and dismayed, Nick and Marc stands for the loyalty displayed. They've seen the games, the politics played, where honor is lost and the brave are betrayed. From the line of duty to the weight of despair, Nick and Marc remind us someone still care. Every episode's a battle, a stand for what's right, exposing the lies that lurk in the night. To every officer fighting, feeling unheard, they're the voice of reason, spreading the word. Raise your hand, shout it loud, don't let it be ignored. The roll call room is here, justice restored. For the officers broken, betrayed and dismayed, Nick and Marc stand for the loyalty displayed. It's not just a job, it's a life on the line. The thin blue line where courage shines. But when command forgets who holds the front, Nick and Marc step up, take the brunt. So here's to the roll call, a beacon of truth. For every cop who's been through the roof, Nick and Marc, we owe you a tear for speaking up loud, for making it clear. Raise your hand, shout it loud, don't let it be ignored. The roll call room is here, justice restored. For the officers broken, betrayed and dismayed, Nick and Marc stand for the loyalty displayed. Here's to the roll call, the mission is clear, standing for the brave, year after year.
Welcome to another episode of the Roll Call Room Podcast, Part 2. We'll get to that in a minute. I am one of your hosts, Nick. With me is the registered, fairly recent alien, Marc the Cop.
Yes, registered.
You have your papers.
Do you have your papers?
I automatically think of Indiana Jones. Like, I drive around now. We're going to get, man, there's so much to unpack now with this.
Oh, I know. It's been just a minute since our last episode. Was it December?
December, yeah. So
yeah,
almost 5 months. So
lots happened. We're both Floridians now.
Yes.
Sorry, did I throw that out too soon?
No. So, yeah, I made the plunge and I moved to the red state of Florida. I feel like a wild animal that has been reunited with its own kind in the jungle. Like,
I'm with my people.
Yeah, like going from Virginia, which is like you're not allowed to talk about politics unless you lean towards the other side.
Meaning leaning left.
Way left.
Yeah, deep blue left, yeah. Yeah, in Florida, you see guys driving around with Trump flags on the back of their pickup trucks, and everyone's got "Make America Great Again" hats on.
But it's like you and I talk offline here. I mean, we talk every day, but it's really weird because I'm still not desensitized from that environment in Virginia because I see those flags and people wearing the MAGA hats,
mm-hmm.
and I'm like, oh, that person's gonna get murdered. And I realized
Right.
they're in good company. Like, I think there's only like 1 or 2 counties in Florida that lean blue that are just so lost.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is that they say they lean blue, but they vote more towards red for
Right.
issues. Because that's just how it is. So
Yeah, I think it's more purple
yeah,
wherever they're at.
I think people are slowly starting to realize that you can only give away everything until you don't have anything to give away anymore.
Right.
And people are, I mean, when I was moving down here, so long story short, with the job that I have, I can go anywhere in the United States. So I chose Florida, obviously, because of the weather, and um, I love the area and cheaper. No state income tax, which is fucking sweet.
Yeah, we'll circle back to that.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then of course, the one of the best governors, Rob DeSantos, is talking about eliminating property tax or something to do with property tax. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
So I made the choice, and anybody that's done a long distance move, I don't recommend.
If you can afford to hire a mover, hire a mover. Other than that, you had like mad. Oh, it's like every day you were talking about organization and planning and working your full-time job. And, then you're like, oh, hey, great. I have to go do a site visit next week, a day before we're supposed to pick up roots and leave.
Oh,
Went, oh my God.
I was messaging you.
I felt bad for you.
I was messaging you and I was like, hey, I'm moving in 2 weeks. And now I have to go to Arizona the week before I move, which is bonkers, dude.
Yeah.
And a long distance move, because I basically had to do that move. I had to do that drive from Florida to Virginia 4 times.
Ugh.
And it was like the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. A plane, a train, and an automobile.
Right. And you didn't have your hands between my ass cheeks.
No. And then on top of that, being a pet owner,
yes.
you need to get your pets from one place to the other. It's very different when you're moving just from one county to the next county or one city to another city. But when you're moving states away, I decided the smart thing would be to rent a big 30-foot RV and put my pets in there and travel. Again, don't recommend. I called Mark in a panic. I had driven it like maybe 5 miles, and I said, dude, there's no way I'm going to be able to drive this 790 miles each way. Like, there's just no way. I can't do it.
Yeah. Once you take it down, you don't leave it. They don't have a one-way RV rental. You got to take it down and bring it back.
Yeah. And I'm for all our cop listeners, which is 99% of you, I know you're going to email me when I tell you all this, and I already know.
We've been over that bridge already.
No. So I pull over and I messaged Mark. I think I messaged you, and I was like, hey, I can't do this. Like, my PTSD is kicking in. I don't know what it is. Fairly recently, I'm having a real big problem with long distance driving and bridges. Those are the 2 big things that are bothering me. Fairly recent. I think, Mark, it's been like a year now, because I remember telling you first.
Bridges, we were talking about.
Yeah, bridges really. I've been through 2 therapists now to try and help me through it, and I just can't get through it. So, so I do the unthinkable, Mark, and I post on Facebook Marketplace. I said, anybody willing to drive round trip from here, meaning in Daytona Beach, to Virginia, and then for Virginia back, I will pay you and pay for your hotels. I got a ton of responses, but the first one that I got, guy was like really, really nice. Of course, I did my due diligence. I ran him through, I don't want to say the name of the company because they don't sponsor us.
You don't pay, you don't say.
No free rides on roll call. So I did my due diligence. If I wasn't an axe murderer or anything like that, but so I met up with this guy, and I was like, I need you to drive me. And he did. We drove from here to South Carolina. We stayed overnight in South Carolina, although he wanted to go through the night, and I just didn't feel comfortable having somebody driving while I'm sleeping in the trailer. Like, I just don't, I couldn't have done that. And then from South Carolina to Virginia, and then stayed overnight in Virginia. Next morning, woke up, loaded the pets, and then drove straight from 6 in the morning all the way until about 8 o'clock at night. Just a straight. Obviously, we stopped at the greatest place in the world, Buc-ee's.
Yes.
My folks,
And they're not paying either, but they're so great. We're going to go ahead and throw it out there.
get a free fucking. I let Buc-ee's fucking touch me.
Again.
And here goes
Feel the beaver.
not the good kind.
Right.
And here goes my ADHD again. Buc-ee's. You've never been to Buc-ee's. That was not my first time going to Buc-ee's. But it is an experience like no other. It is definitely a well-oiled
It's
machine.
fun.
Yeah,
It is a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoy going to Buc-ee's.
Oh man, the food is ridiculous. The bathrooms are probably the most cleanest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Pause. Jesus,
Large,
I tell you, bro,
very clean bathrooms.
I'm going on tangents today.
We can't get too far in the weeds. We have a finite amount of time.
Yeah. Speaking of bathrooms at Buc-ee's, what I like about Buc-ee's bathroom is when you go in the stall, you turn the little latch, and then on the other side it says occupied or unoccupied, right? You know that thing.
Yeah.
Every fucking time I go to Buc-ee's, man, and I have to use the stall, there's always one fucking idiot that pulls on that damn handle. And
Every time.
Every fucking
Every time. Yep. Every time.
You not see, and it's not even if you can't even read. It's color coded. Red means somebody's in there. Green means you can go in there.
Mhm. Of course, sometimes you're blinded by the clinch, so you know. You're feverishly pulling doors.
You know what? You know what, Mark? That is around for a couple of years.
Been
now.
there, haven't you?
You got it, brother. You got it. Yeah. So we make the trip all the way down. We get here in the evening time. Nothing is, like we basically moved down. My wife and I moved with the movers before we took the pets. We just basically had them dump boxes into the rooms that they're supposed to go in, and then hopped on a flight. Went and got the trailer, the RV, and then drove up. So we didn't unbox anything. So when we got in at 7, 8 o'clock at night, it was like laid down a blanket and,
we're here.
Supermax sleep accommodations.
A thin blanket, no pillow, just lay on the floor.
Bowl full of, kibble.
Yeah. We'll get started tomorrow, honey.
But it was immediate. You and I offline. I've told you, probably for the last 5 years, the dream has always been to relocate down here. When I was a cop, that was the dream, was to retire and move down here. And I think there are points when you set those goals for yourself that you're going to move somewhere or you're going to relocate. Those become glimmer and glimmer and glimmer because you're attached to the job. And I think if I had stayed in law enforcement, I definitely wouldn't. And my wife and I had this conversation when we were sitting in the backyard enjoying the beautiful weather. It would have been another 8 to 10 years had I ever stayed with law enforcement, because I'd probably be a captain by now. And I think
if you were a captain now, you'd be so entrenched in everything that was going on, and relaxing and doing all that. Yeah, keep going. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in.
No, you were perfect, because I was trying to think, like, I would have been entrenched. I would have been just like, what's another 10 years as a captain? Because we all know the 2 butter bars. 10 years.
The magic railroad tracks.
Negative 15 years, dog years,
Yeah.
It's captain, I think at a lieutenant and above, your years are not rated by like the road riding you
Mhm.
hard. I think it's rated by the paper cuts.
Yeah. But to their defense, and for the good, strong leaders out there that are in those positions, you know, your task isn't hands on. Your task is mental. And I
Admirable.
know a lot of the guys that are just like, God, by the end of the day, man, I'm just wiped out. I can't think anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So, you
there's
know,
also so many times that you can Swiffer brush your brick. You know, like, do
we're
you
gonna be
use uh, the Swiffer lint-free one? Do you use the old French made with the feathers?
right.
You know, how often do you clean the glass enclosure that you have over it? What do
And-
you use? Do you Windex? I like that spray one. I like
yeah,
that.
in the blue and white can.
Yeah, with the blue top,
Yeah.
it smells so
Yes.
good.
No, it's great
I
stuff.
would be
But do
spraying
you
that.
clean the inside of your
Oh,
display case?
you know these motherfuckers. They're doing that. They're doing that with a thong on.
With what?
With a thong on.
That's
Like,
what I thought you
they
said.
go
I
into
just
their
want to make sure.
office, they close the door, they lock it. They also barricade it,
Mhm.
super paranoid, and then
Right.
they slowly take off their whole uniform, sit on that leather chair with their thong on, and they lay the brick out and all the cleaning supplies. Kind of like how you do like cleaning a gun. You have all the patches and all. This is a whole process, man. This is a whole process.
Get, got to get ready to get ready.
That's just the yellow, dude. That's just the yellow brick.
Not
There's
the blue one
no, not the
or the
one,
red one.
or I forget what they are. Like it's their secret society one. I think one is for running. One is a seminar on how to fuck your people over. Like,
Well,
yeah,
let's hope not. And guys, don't get offended. We're just having fun. This is the comedy part of the show.
yeah, take it easy. I'm not saying everybody. I know a lot of lieutenants that are fucking rock solid. The problem is that they've
Yeah.
been, you know, they get drawn out because they know that their peers, you know, they go to conferences, leadership conferences. A lot of people, a lot of good leaders go to conferences and they're like, I want to take something out of this training. I want
Mhm.
to expand my my toolbox. And it gets drowned out because the moment that you get there, it's inundated with people that have ulterior motives, which
Oh
is,
yeah.
you know, how do I further my career? How do I shiv somebody and get further? But I want to say that with the change of leadership in this country, I think things are definitely taking a pivotal turn. I have the pleasure of living in the county that has the greatest sheriff in the world, I think, which is Grady Judd.
Yes.
I love that guy.
Best quote ever. Why'd you shoot him 68 times? Because that's
Yeah.
all the bullets we had. We
I
have shot him more.
This is even going to be a shock for Mark. I haven't told him yet. I have reached out to Grady and I have invited him on the show. So I've been, you know, communicating. So hopefully I can get a response because I've also decided to.
Oh, that'd be a huge honor to have
Yeah,
him on.
I've also decided to brush off the old notepad and dip back into writing a book on positive law enforcement leadership. And
There we go. There
like-
we go. Awesome.
I'd like for Grady to be the source of that book, which is his comparison of, you know, how he has turned the Polk County Sheriff's Department into being just a phenomenal sheriff's department where they don't have a recruitment problem. They
Mhm.
don't have a problem getting volunteers. They don't have a problem with getting reserve officers. They don't have a
Isn't that
problem
amazing?
because these sheriff's deputies, they know that this guy has got his back. The only thing that I do see, and I saw this on a traffic stop yesterday, Mark, it's like a 94 degrees outside.
Mhm.
A different 94, different than you guys are thinking. Wasn't sweaty balls 94, but it was 94. And the sheriff's deputy that was out there had those doofy sleeves on that cover tattoos.
Oh yeah.
And I have to take a look. I don't know whether or not it's policy or personal preference. I'm not sure.
Well, you know, down in Florida, it's a different kind of sun. Just so everyone knows. So everyone up north that comes down, I'm going to lay on the beach. You got to understand the UV rays down there are super intense.
Yeah.
So if you get a lot of ink done and you're out in the sun, that's actually going to fuck up your roll there. So some people cover by preference that way because that's an investment
Yeah.
in your sleeve. And if you're out there constantly exposing that, because I remember my grandfather, he was tatted down both arms, and once he was there 10 years, I mean, that it was all just faded out. I mean, the lines were blurred. I mean, all of his artwork was just terrible after that. And he said that was part of the reason why, it's because of the sun. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I didn't even think of that. I was wondering whether or not that was I just don't see Grady having a policy or giving a fuck about like tattoos, of course, unless they're, offensive, which I don't see Grady allowing you to be in his sheriff's department if you did have offensive tattoos. And if you do have offensive tattoos, this probably isn't the profession for you, because the moment you get into some sort of shooting or something like that, your tattoos are going to be scrutinized. I mean, look what they're doing to Pete Hegseth about all.
Oh my gosh,
like, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, you're making it too obvious you're trying to get rid of the guy. Like,
Pete's not
move on
going
from the
anywhere.
signal bullshit.
They're mad because they have a young, good-looking dude in there that's articulate, that can talk, that's not afraid of them, and the more you stand up, as we both know, the more you stand up, the more you get punched.
Amen.
So, you have to stand up. You have to dig your heels in and not let them people affect you. I think back to the back to the positivity and leadership. We've spent a lot of time on the Shield Within and on the roll call room outing these people. So what I've been seeing here lately is kind of a trend shift, because a lot of these people, the toxicity, they've gotten into those positions, fake it till you make it. and then they make it and they drowned.
Yeah.
And then thankfully they're not there in those positions very long. So, and if anyone here's, please let me know. It's mark@rollcallroom.com. If you're seeing the stronger, more independent leaders stepping up and replacing the toxicity, I've just been seeing that trend here lately. And I'm pretty excited that to have strong leadership on the roll call room, such as Sheriff Grady. And that's really exciting because, you guys, and especially the people working right now, oh, good Lord. I had one of my fellow colleagues, I always talking about being a cop in the 90s and how fun it was. And the guy said, oh, yeah, that was BC. And I'm like, what? He's like, before cameras. I said, oh, yeah, never thought of it that way. Yeah, that's back in the day when you could fucking talk to people. And then I went into reflection mode, and I can remember having several conversations with my wiener boss that wiener being he's a penis. Well, you just say that to make yourself feel better. And I'm like, why are you so worried about the script?
Yeah.
We're getting the job done. The last thing I need to be worried about when I'm getting the job done is how many times I say fuck. Or, well, how's it going to appear on camera? It's going to appear the way it is.
Yeah. It's not pretty.
No, it's not pretty. It's law enforcement. And for all you young boots that want to get in there because you think, I'm going to have a status. If you want to do that, go into another service like Fire EMS. Law enforcement, you get your knuckles bloody. There's in 90% of the time, you think, Nick? I mean, it's not. But it's not 10% of the time when you got to pig pile someone and you need to disable them, or you're fighting somebody and then the crowd comes off the porch and they want to get in a fight too. What's your plan?
Yeah.
This is the reality of the job.
You
need to be able to recognize when you're in trouble. Go ahead, sir.
Would you make it with body cams? Like, if you were a cop today, would you make it?
I would do the job today the way I've always done it. My perception is that if we want to portray the suspect in the light that he's in, because remember when they come to court, they've had their hair cut and they got caps on their teeth, and they put makeup all over their face tattoos, so they want to look like the pastor or whatever. They're trying to make themselves appear to be the best that they can, but at the time of the incident, they're virtually this wild animal.
Yeah.
So, you got to fight fire with fire. And I don't want to take that I'm stoic and all this. No, sometimes you have to talk to people in the language in which they're going to respond to. And I just want to be real. I want the judge to have the full picture. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You just have to own it. What's that old saying? A little bit of common sense. Be fair, be firm, and apply common sense to everything. You'll be fine, law enforcement.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
You don't think you would?
No, I think my mouth would get the best of me, and it does.
That's both our problems.
Yeah, I see that happening in my professional career lately too. It's definitely a self-awareness thing where I have to realize the audience that I'm around, and that some people cannot take constructive criticism directly. They take it personally, and they take it completely different ways. And I think I would be respectful, but also I think when you're in open court, I think people watch it from a different lens, and they're like, "Oh, he cursed." We're all human beings. Like,
yeah.
I
How
don't.
many those videos, like was it State Boys with multiple Z's on the end? Let me see your hands, motherfucker.
Yeah. Well,
I'll shoot you in the fucking face. It's like you're just trying to get compliance out of the guy.
Yeah, I watch a lot of those crime ones. I watch a lot of body cam ones where they're arresting shoplifters and shit like that. And there are instances where I watch or listen to what cops say in those videos, and I'm like, even me, like, I don't think that's a good idea, brother. I don't like. There's a level of your adrenaline is high, but there's a different level when you're degrading people and when you're talking down to people. That I don't have.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
No, I people that piss me off, or I've said some off colors things, but the videos lately that really get my blood boiling is watching these. And I don't know a good way to put it, but these people need to have a better reality of what law enforcement is. And I watched one the other day where it was two females, and there was an older female and a younger female, and both these people are inept, and they're trying to take this guy in custody, and the guy just shoulder chucks the older one, and she hits the ground and just lays there and goes, and that's it, just lays there and moans, and then the guy takes off running. And the other female, she's probably a good, she's way over a stated weight limit. She probably runs like a 15-minute or 20-minute mile. Yeah. She's trying to get this guy in custody. She pulls out her taser. She doesn't deploy it. And so she's running down the road, pointing the taser at a jog, and this guy is just making tracks. And I'm like, that's infuriating to me.
Yeah. But it's happening a lot, dude. Like
more and more and more. These multiple warnings.
Yeah, multiple warnings.
And they do nothing. Your warning doesn't mean shit. Boys and girls, it's 3 times. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to tell you. And then I'm going to demand it.
Yeah.
After the 3rd time, you ain't going to see it coming. Because I'm not going to say, I'm going to kick your ass now.
Yeah.
Do it. If they don't comply, then it's on.
There's a lot of hesitation, specifically in the videos that I watch, which is...
yeah. Oh, God, yes, Nick. Doesn't have just... It's like, why?
Bro,
you people that put this shit in these people's heads are going to get them killed and hurt. No wonder you have your injury levels they are.
I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't. I mean, there was, I can't remember the specifics of the video the other day. I'm sitting there watching it with the kids and the wife, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Put that person in handcuffs. Yeah. It was a homicide suspect. And I'm like,
oh my God.
What the fuck are you doing? Like, they're letting this guy, that's what it was. I gotta show you. I gotta send you this video. You'll fucking burn. It was up in like Washington State, and they show up with the family. They haven't heard from the family member. The roommate is super sketchy. The family member had a disagreement with the roommate, and they haven't heard from the guy since. So the family members go to the house. The police officer's like, well, listen, I can't go inside. You're the family members. You guys can go inside. And I'm like,
he's investigating
fucking.
Is it a welfare check?
Yeah. So
the guy had disagreements. She got pretty good reasonable.
Well, and then
reasonable suspicion.
It's worse, Mark, which is the guy.
Oh God.
We should dissect that video on here.
Yeah, let's do that next episode.
Yeah, let's do that.
Roll on.
I don't want to ruin it actually,
Okay.
but the short of it is, um, is that the family members go inside. They find blood on the floor. They find the family member's cell phone. His car is outside. There's all the check boxes
Yeah.
for you to do a cursory welfare check, right? Family members go into the bathroom. They find garbage bags covered in blood. You know where this is going, right?
Oh yeah.
The officers exit the house. They have the guy sit outside, the suspect. They have him sit outside. The guy is moving around freely. He's walking
Oh my
freely.
God.
They don't know what to do. They don't know whether or not they should get a search warrant. They then start asking the guy for consent to search, which do your due diligence, spend the hour to 2 hours to go get a fucking search warrant.
And get this guy in custody.
Guy in custody, like they're asking the guy questions without Miranda. I mean, they're doing a lot of things.
Oh my God.
You know, the guy's like, I got to go to the bathroom. And so he stands up and they're like, well, if you got to go to the bathroom, you're going to have to piss on that tree. I mean, and they let the guy get up, unzip his pants, and just, you didn't pat him down. You don't know if he's got a wet. I mean, it's just wild shit, Mark. Like I was sitting there going, this cannot.
Where's the boss? Like you always say, where's the stripe?
This is right, man. Like it was just like Keystone Cops, man, and it was very disheartening to watch because
Oh man.
family deserves better than that because
Oh yeah.
it affects the prosecution of the case. Very, very disheartening to see, but we'll
That's so
definitely
sad.
dissect that story. But to go back, so the move went good, and then I had the pleasure after many years. You and I have been talking for many, many years, man, and
Yes.
you're like, "Hey, I'm going to be in town," and I was like, "Are you?" And we both drove an hour. And we got
There we
to
are.
finally meet, bro. We went to this amazing place called Miller's. It was great food. We had a blast. We had some good laughs. Our waiter told us his name 15 times. It was great, and like I was starting to wonder.
Yes, and figured the lightning storm would have blown up real quick. God tried to take one of us out.
It was good. We caught up and we kind of talked about the, you know, what we're gonna do, like what direction we want to go with the show and how frequent we want to do these, which is obviously we want the frequency to pick up. We appreciate everybody's patience with the lag time between episodes. But life happens, you know, life happens.
It really does. It really does. And it, we were prepping for the show this morning, and we were talking about, so you want to do a podcast, and you know, it is quite amazing how you spend a lot of money, you buy a lot of equipment, and you have a 39-cent fucking cable just totally derail your whole thing. So if you're thinking about doing a podcast and the roll call room was your inspiration, here's some hints. Buy everything in double. So if you buy one cable, buy two for each microphone and each interface. I had an interface cable that went from my LiveTrack 8 to my Mac, and it worked fine. Turn everything off, come back in, do the next show. We got a hum. We got static. It's like, what in the world is going on? And it was the interface cable. Yeah, actually, it was the jack coming out of the MacBook and into the machine. What changed? No, you know, Nick this morning, he's like, can't hear. So yeah, what $2.99 cable had to shut down for. Well, thank God.
It's happened. Like we've had a couple. Like we meet early in the morning because again, life. This isn't the full-time job. You have a full-time job. I have a full-time job. I travel a ridiculous amount of time, like
yes,
abnormally ridiculous. It's almost a joke at this point where Mark and I message each other, what state are you in today?
Yeah, that's right.
And it's rough. It's rough. We got to do these early in the morning, and this
it's tough having guests on, believe me.
It's almost impossible to have guests on. but we are going to try and make a conscious effort to get the content out more. We definitely want some fan involvement of what things you are listening to that you want to hear, what things you don't like. I've gotten some good feedback about the playing the videos, the cop videos. I've gotten feedback about sprinkling it and doing shows like this in between those, stuff like that. And we're all for it. What I don't want to do is I don't want to resort back to the original roll call room where we sit on here for 45 minutes to an hour and bitch about what's obvious.
I, I think we got that covered over the last 5 years.
Yeah,
Is that hard to believe? 2019, it's been that long.
Yeah, I mean, and listen to them while you can, because Spotify's flagging every one of our episodes. That was
Really?
Oh yeah. We just had 5 of them removed last week. I forgot to tell you about that. They removed 5 of our episodes last week because of content, and one of them that stands out is COVID leadership. They just removed that, which is I think from season 1 or 2. Spotify has completely taken a fucking nosedive. That's why we're heavily investing into YouTube. We're getting 50,000 plus video views on our YouTube. That's not by accident. And then you go to Spotify's algorithms or their data. We're getting 6 episode listens.
Well, but I think that's I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit of backstory here. Your former agency, I think you got some people on there that's still a little butthurt, that's filing complaints everywhere, and this is so and so from so and so. And they use that influence to be able to shut it down. So
yeah,
like I said, monetarily, it's no big deal. And if you think you're going to start a podcast and become rich, it's the same philosophies. I'm going to go buy a guitar and become a rock star.
Yeah,
sure. But the Roll Call Room podcast really got it all started. Nick was very bold. Nick and Mike in the beginning, very bold with laying it out there. And I think that's where the numbers just exploded, because I can remember working on midnights and just scanning podcasts and this looks interesting, so I flipped it on. I'm like, I 100% relate with these guys, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And funny sidebar, Google told me that my mailbox is getting full and I got to start going through some things. So I went back and was deleting old emails, and I ran across our first email ever where I'd reached out to you.
Yeah.
And found that interaction. Of course, that all got back in. I quickly delve into the rabbit hole of my IA. But I had to get out of that.
Well, and I mean, I've gotten probably thousands of emails and instant messages through social media. I remember yours distinctively because I think it was right around the time when things were getting really, really bad.
Right.
And I knew that the foot was coming down on top of us from the agency. I knew we weren't going to be able to get away with what we were doing for too long.
Right.
And subconsciously, I wanted them to either fire me or push me out. I think subconsciously, you don't think that you don't think about that when it's happening. But now that it's been many years, 4 years, I think it's been, I think about it, and I was definitely putting my thumb in their eye. I was daring them. You and I talked about it over lunch. I was
how insane we were back then.
It's like, I dare you to fucking do something, and they were like, "Oh, you dare us? Here, we're going to come up with some sort of bullshit charge that you can never be a cop again." And in turn, what they did was they made me more lethal. They made me more dangerous, because at least if you would have kept me on, you could have controlled the content. You could have controlled what I said. But the moment that you pulled that Band-Aid off, that was the end of it. And they did me a favor, Mark. I mean, there's no way in this world with what I'm doing right now outside of law enforcement I'd be able to make that kind of money. There's no fucking way. I would have never been able to afford to move down to Florida. And that's why this all comes to a complete circle. And that's why I'm wrapping it into a bow, which is that for the first time in Roll Call Room history, I don't have a drum roll, but I want to say thank you to APD because they helped me achieve this. Like they did this for me because if they hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have been able to afford to live in a beautiful area.
It's a gorgeous house.
Yeah, like
Gorgeous neighborhood.
the kid, my family is so much happier. We go out every day. We're earshot away from fucking Universal Studios where we hang out. We're at Disney Springs all the time. We're doing things that my wife and I were having this conversation over dinner one night. I was like, we're living in an area where people have to escape their lives to have a couple of days of magic and peace. We're living in that paradise. We're not vacationers anymore. We are living in an area where people have to put in leave and spend money to come and spend time to clear their minds.
Right.
Is there a lot of traffic? Oh my God, is there a lot of traffic?
Orlando traffic is horrendous.
But you know what? Again, ADHD, man, it's never going to get under control. My Floridians that I've talked to, they're like, "Oh, this traffic's fucking terrible. It's getting out of control." And I'm like, I came from Washington, D.C.
Yeah, you don't know traffic till you've been in D.C. traffic. That traffic is insane.
It's fucking crazy. You could put your car in park and read the newspaper for 30 minutes. Here it moves. You're just unhappy because it moves very slowly.
Right.
The drivers down here are fucking crazy too. Like bonkers crazy. But there's things that that will adjust to down here. There's great things that are down here. I would love for you to be down here.
More. More.
There is in person. I mean, that's what we talked about over lunch. There is going to be in person for the first time with you and I. We've never done in studio together. We've always done remote, like here.
Yeah.
We talked about bringing other guests on to do it. Like,
can we throw a hint out?
Absolutely.
There's the book.
Yes.
That he just released. We're going to try and get Scott Medlin's also a Floridian, so we're going to try and we're kind of like in the Bermuda Triangle down there. I'm on the West Coast. Nick is Central. Actually, Scott's also West Coast, but he's quite a bit south. So we're going to try and
we're going to make it happen.
Try and connect and just bring the equipment But that's coming up. Scott Medlin's a great author, great speaker.
Yeah.
He does a 10 code mindset, so he doesn't pay us, but he's such a great friend. We're always going to give reference to him. We need to have him back on. So, but that's what we're going to try and do is do a live show. And for those of us that don't do a lot of podcasting, this is great, this interaction that we have here remotely, but the energy is always different when you're in person.
Oh my God.
And the lunch. Oh yeah. I mean, they were throwing us out of there. Like, you guys got to go. And I'm like, oh yeah, we both got shit to do today. So that was probably it was 2-3 hours we were there. And it was like, yeah, we got to roll.
Yeah.
But, I want to share, if I can share this real quick. I want to talk about, you brought your vehicles down and the whole mindset as to where you lived in Alexandria versus here in Florida. You had an electric vehicle and you're like, my God, there's no place to charge this thing up. So
down here about electric vehicles.
No. And he bought the car that I wanted. So he comes rolling in and I was like, that motherfucker. But you had no idea that I wanted a Ford Maverick. And I've been talking to my wife about it now for like a year that I want to get a Maverick. And she's like, that's like, it's an itty bitty truck. I'm like, no, man, this thing's the perfect car, I think, to keep. Yeah, it's a great, I don't want to say, I want to plug somewhere, but going to the home improvement store, just throw something in the back. I mean, they ride like a car. I first learned about, I knew the car was coming along, but I just never really gave it a lot of thought. And then I was watching a video on Rabbit's Used Cars, and he's talking about the one he bought. I'm like, I'm going to go look at these things. And man, I was just really impressed with the car. And then, of course, Nick comes rolling in. Of course, he's bought a Highline, EcoBoost, and got the awesome leather seats and the good color. And I'm like, it's like he's rolling in going, hey, look what I got.
Well, what was
like, I'm green with envy. I'm in my wife's hamster car. You're like,
actually,
you're driving a Soul.
Like,
Yeah, it ain't glamorous, but it's transportation. But
had a tampon dispenser inside.
yeah, check the man card at the door when you drive the Kia.
I had been at the
But
dealership the night before, or was it the night before, or I think it was like the night before. I had been at the dealership.
you still have the window sticker. I mean, I think you just picked it up before we met.
It was brand new, and
Yeah.
you know, I had a Mach-E, which I absolutely loved. Great car. You know, no gas. It was great. The range was great on it. But when I moved down here with the heat, you always have your air conditioning on, except in the morning. You always have your air conditioning on. So my range had like I was getting 50% range what I would get in Virginia, and the
Oh, no kidding.
stations far and few between around where I am. And so when you would get to a charging station, you'd have to sit there and wait for everybody else to finish. And I was like, I can't go on like that. Like I can't operate like this. You know, the other thing is that we're seriously considering starting the coffee roasting business back up, starting to
Oh, nice.
that again. So the need for a truck is there. We're talking about opening up another cafe down here. That's on the table. There's a lot of things that are on the table right now that, you know, we kind of put on the back burner and said, you know what, we're not going to do that anymore. But the possibilities down here are a lot greater, and there's a lot more support for law enforcement down here than there was.
Oh, yes.
You know, the George Floyd thing completely decimated our coffee shop, and then, you know, Joe Biden's inept ability to grow small businesses and supply chain issues. I mean, it was, you know, that's when I really started to get into politics. I was never ever left or right, and I still consider myself middle of the road. There are issues that I lean more towards the left on, and then there's issues where I'm a stark right wing, like conservative person.
And I think reasonably a lot of people are that way, but
Yeah.
please continue.
Yeah, no. And so, like, you know, I grew into politics because I saw what inept leadership from one side to the other can do to a business. Like, I was able to recoup all of my money and get out. But there were businesses that were decimated, that lost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, that had to close. So being down here in Florida, there's a big push. People love coffee down here. There's a lot of things we're talking about possibly doing at the end of the year. But, you know, right now, and you gave the best advice. It rings in my head every single day about me moving down here is that you said, you know, your mood is going to change down there. You're going to feel a lot better. And it is like every single day.
2 to 3 weeks.
Man,
your body, you're going to wake up in the morning, you're like, I don't hurt anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy. The wife too, she has some medical issues and stuff like that. And since we've moved down here, she's feeling a little bit better, but you know, it's so crazy how I think the other thing is, and I keep going on many different tangents here, but
notes, Nick. Let's take notes next time. That's half the fun of our show. It's impromptu. So
there are no notes. And so we talked about it over lunch. I think the other part is that when I was up in Virginia, it was not uncommon for me to go to a grocery store, go to Target, and turn an aisle and see a piece of shit that I used to work with.
Oh, yes.
You know, go grocery shopping and you turn that aisle and you're like, oh, there's that fucking asshole. And I don't have that problem down here in Florida. And
yeah, me neither.
One of you motherfuckers, remember something, because I know you're listening. So when you're transcribing this, you're down here on vacation. I'm down here for life. Think about that.
Let that sink in for a minute.
Vacation. And you thought you won. Let that sink in. Like, who really did win that whole thing? And the second part is I'm still occupying headspace. 4 years later, your new recruits are reaching out to me. Your new recruits that just came out of the police academy, this last class, 3 of them reached out to me. I said, is this place really as fucked up as you're saying?
About
that.
Well, let's hope not. Did they have some changes in leadership?
It's still, dude, the new fucking police chief is fucking just as much of a dumb fuck as the other last two.
That's
He's
sad to
just
hear.
as much of a fucking idiot as the last two because it's what the liberal city of Alexandria. That's all they do. It's a DEI heaven there. It is not
Mm.
based on performance. It's not based on whether or not you qualify for the job. You're plugging people in instead of hiring the best fucking people for the job. And I don't give a
And
shit
that's
what
sad.
shape or size you are. I really don't give a fuck. But the problem with that city is all they continuously keep doing is placating what's popular instead of
Hmm.
what's right. And until somebody goes in there and overhauls the good old boys club and gets rid of that fucking mess that's there, it'll stay the same forever. It doesn't bother
And
me anymore. I don't give a shit. Like
yeah,
I don't really
but
give
for the people that's working there, it's always best to go into something with clear eyes. But the beauty of it is living in it, taking your. I want to circle back to you don't have to worry about going to Walmart and running into the shit bag when you change. And here in Ohio, and I hope that they do this. There was a video went around that Tyrus from the Greg Gutfeld show was interviewing President Trump, and he was talking about no tax for first responders.
Hmm.
So here in Ohio, that they tax your pension. So that's why a lot of first responders are moving out of state to like Tennessee or Florida, and that was one big thing was that moving to Florida, you're income tax free.
Yeah.
And I think that if Ohio it would be wise for them to keep more of their first responders here. I can tell you that with my incident and how my headspace is I avoid my old city because it's what we talk about. I used to drive around the city. Now I drive around the city to keep from being in there, and I don't have that anxiety in Florida.
Yeah.
I go to the grocery store. I have to worry about running into in Tip City, there's a Menards there, and the current chief goes to Menards a lot. And our good friend, we need to have Todd on now that his thing's all been adjudicated. But he runs into him all the time there because he's in, he has a construction business now. He's like, he'll text me, hey, guess what I ran into today? And I laugh. So you don't have that unless you've been through this nightmare that Nick and I have been through. You don't really understand the anxiety, the headspace that it puts you into. And totally picking up and moving, I want to amplify what Nick's saying is the number one, you physically feel better there. Your body doesn't hurt as much as it did there. So you got that mindset. The sunshine every day is amazing. The wind is always blowing. I mean, like I said, I'm East Coast or West Coast rather. So I know the wind is making its way towards the central and the East Coast. But the from west to east, Gulf Stream, no, not the Gulf Stream. I'm trying to think of it here. Anyway, there's always a wind blowing, even though it's hot. It's what Nick said. Yeah, it's 94 degrees, but the wind's blowing. We do have humidity, but like I said, it's a different mindset. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, and I know there are a lot of folks that aren't able to pick up and move, and I get that. Not everybody is able to do that. I think it's good to hear that there are alternatives out there. I wanted to share one thing before we wrap up, which we mentioned. Scott just put out this amazing new book, 100 stress busting tips for first responders. Definitely go check this out. Scott's done a great job as always. He's got a couple books out there. Go check it out. It's available on Amazon. Help him out. The other thing is,
leave him a review. As many stars as possible.
Reviews definitely help. The other thing is I put on our Facebook and our Instagram a GoFundMe for one of my former officers. Never had an issue with this guy. Probably top-notch guy, just a stand-up guy going through a lot of medical issues. If you could donate $10, donate $10. I think it's very important. It's good karma for you. Never ever get on here and say go donate to something. unless it's absolutely necessary. But this is one of those situations where he's in a tough spot. So I'd like to have a good showing from the roll call room. I posted it, and then within like 2 or 3 hours, they raised like $1,600 more
Awesome.
through our post. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that grow. Put yourself in those shoes. You never know what's going to happen. Life happens. Medical issues happen. So it's good karma. So that's all I got, Mark.
Yeah, me too.
Close us
Thank you all for listening. Got a suggestion? Throw it out. Nick at rollcallroom.com. Email us. Me and myself, Mark with a C,
Yes.
at rollcallroom.com. We appreciate each and every one of you. Our commitment to you is, after our epic meeting of the minds, is to be putting more content out. Our goal is to at least have twice a month, and keep bringing you fun stuff and law enforcement. Be safe.
Yes. All right, folks. Check us out on rollcallroom.com, and see you on the next one. It won't be 5 months from now.
It'd be 6.
All right, folks. Bye.